You see, the thing that black conservatives really need to realize is that at the end of the day, is that if fascists and right-wing authoritarians ever take over the country, being one of the good ones isn't going to be a good enough thing to save you. They're going to come for you too. So you better hope they don't get us, because you're next. Maybe I should have just ended the video right there.
They hated white people. I'm half white. Am I supposed to hate that half of myself? Am I supposed to hate my family?
What type of dumbass logic is
that
that?
was
I
a
really
light bulb.
no. Stop right there, bitch. I really hate this weird victimhood complex where people feel like that at the end of the day. That you see, people don't hate white people. People critique white people, white culture, and white supremacy in a ways that has done affect the lives of many people. This shit is not hating white people. Nobody just sees, because if you become a leftist like I am, nobody goes outside and just be like some, ugh, look at that white person over there. No, you go outside and just be like some, damn. The way that we think of things is literally controlled by, weird Western gender norms and social standards that are very arbitrary. And there are sometimes manifestations of white supremacy. The way that we think of people by skin color and shit. That's what it really is. It's a critique of whiteness as a concept, not of white people saying that, oh, we just hate white people. Leftists don't fucking hate white people. Black leftists don't. True black leftists, not like Dr. Umar's stupid ass. He's not a leftist. He's more of a fascist, if you ask me. But true leftists don't hate white people. True leftists want to work with different races of people to create a more egalitarian world. And when people critique whiteness and a concept of white supremacy, is not nearly the same fucking thing as just generically saying that they hate white people. And I don't know where this dumb bitch is getting that from, but okay.
Bulb moment for me. My name is Amala and this is my story.
It's grift time.
I'm 20 years old. I was born in Florida, and I'm a social media influencer and Prager Force member. So my father was a Nigerian immigrant. He moved to America. He met my mother. They fell in love and got married, and they had 3 children, me being the middle child. And he was in my life up until I was 6 years old. And then my parents got divorced. So I have very little memories of him as a child. And as they were divorced, I didn't see him very often, maybe every year or so. And now he bears very little influence in my life, which I know is common for most people in the Black community, unfortunately. So
No, that's a fucking lie, actually. See what we're talking about white supremacy and some of the ways that it can affect people's thoughts and political predilections? Because you know that is a myth. There is CDC data that indicates, even though that they are not married necessarily, but, well, at least even in my anecdotal experiences, Black fathers are in the home taking care of their children. So I don't know what the fuck this bitch is talking about or referring to, because every one of my friends who are not necessarily all African American, but every friend of mine that I grew up with and went to school with that has had a child is in that child's life. Not to mention is data indicating that Black fathers are in the child life even sometimes more so than white fathers are.
Sort of fall into that statistic, if you will. So my mom is a very strong-willed woman, a very opinionated woman. She happens to work for
She must call you stupid a lot, don't she?
Left. She is a fundraiser, so she gets all the funding for the organization that she works for. As a child, my mom's beliefs were ingrained in me.
How it works. Like, if you're a leftist fundraiser for for a certain group or something like that, you don't get the funds for it. Like, you're smearing your own mother. These funds can go towards many different things, such as mutual aid, helping people vote, transportation, or helping people run their political campaigns and whatnot. Nobody that has any type of leftist fundraising organization is just pocketing the fucking money. So I don't know.
She taught me leftist ideology and what she believed from a very young age, and I was always
she's trying to help you, stupid.
Well aware of where she fell on the line and expected to believe the same. not having my father in my life did have an
I mean, it's not that she expected you to just generically believe the same thing, but it's kind of just like you got to really work hard to be a black conservative slash black Republican slash black white supremacist apologist. It's more work to do that, and it's not because you are seeing through the darkness and you seeing something that everybody else don't see. It's because you have to literally lie to yourself. You gotta lie about history. You gotta lie about the shit that literally comes out of every Republican politician's mouth in order to justify you voting for Republicans or promoting them in any way, shape, or form.
impact on me, but I found father figures elsewhere. And two people who had a major influence on me were my grandparents. And they are this strong, beautiful, conservative couple that has been married for years and years. And they taught me how to be a lady. They taught me how to carry myself and be mature. And I find
plenty of leftists and even liberal women out there. You know, I'm sure your mother could have taught you all the same stuff, but you was probably pushing her away for whatever reason. Like, being conservative does not mean that you're more of a lady.
find myself very lucky, actually, that even though my family does not agree with the values that I am putting out to the world, that my family
Not invited to Thanksgiving dinner.
accepts what I do and that they are proud of what I do.
Doesn't get anything for Christmas.
Even though they disagree. When I was 17 and I graduated high school, I took up a job as a youth organizer at my mother's organization. And as I was working there, I remember in particular walking into the office and hearing these conversations specifically in regards to white people. And it was blatantly racist. There is no way around it. There was no beating around.
This anti-white racism narrative bullshit. Do I have to say it again? People critiquing a concept of whiteness is not the same thing as them saying that they hate white people. White supremacy has affected and marred our society in many different ways. Just because people have a conversation about it does not mean they're these big racists who hate white people.
Around the bush, they hated white people. And I sat down with the VP of the organization and I told him I was concerned. I'm half white. I grew up with my white family. Am I supposed to hate that half of myself? Am I supposed to hate my family? He essentially...
No, you're not. Look, every white leftist knows that shit. That people that are fully white can realize that you're not supposed to hate yourself for being white, but you're supposed to build upon them. It's not about the mistakes of your ancestors. It's just that white leftists or leftists in general just want to make the world a better place. Just leave it at that. It's not about fixing being white. It's not about fixing damage done by whiteness. It's just that people want to make the world a better place. Just think about it like that. I don't know what the fuck are you talking about, like this, oh, should I hate the white side of myself? No, nobody thinks like that, man. What the fuck is wrong with you? You're projecting that because it's what your audience wants to fucking hear.
Told me, you have to understand that people are angry and they're rightfully angry and they're going to say these things and maybe they don't fully mean it, but you have to sit down and you have to take it and you should be angry too. So
no, they did not say that shit. They said these people, I can guarantee, let me think of what the fuck that person probably said. The VP probably said that the same shit that I keep happen to say over and over and fucking over again. This is why I don't like black conservatives, man, because they weaponize their skin color to make money and promote this right-wing bullshit. This is fucking nonsense, man. It's really fucking making me mad. I have to say it again. When people are critiquing the ways that whiteness and white supremacy have affected the world and the concepts of Western values, they are not saying that they fucking hate white people. I don't know where you're getting this shit from. You gotta literally, straw man and hustle hard to make this shit up, because nobody is saying this.
That was a light bulb moment for me, and
It must have turned off.
Went out to seek answers on my own since nobody wanted to answer them. I went online and I found an interview in particular of Thomas Sowell in something that
that stupid son of a bitch strikes again.
Resonated with me is that he was a Marxist for most of his young life, just as I was. And that shared
Notice
experience
that a
was
lot of these people start out like that. They claim by some, oh, I used to be on the left at one point, but then I saw through the darkness and watched a couple of Tim Pool videos, and now I'm a black conservative. Like, nobody believes this shit, bro. Like, a lot of these people were not true leftists. They're probably liberal. And if not that, they probably already had these previous political predilections to begin with, and then they switched over just to make money.
a beautiful revelation to see. And now he is this beautiful mind who has intellect beyond what I will ever be capable of. So he is a major inspiration for me and a big part of why I'm a conservative today. So when I think about the Black community in America and how we are taught to be victims, it is devastating for me. And what happens is you are raised in a society in which really nobody is treating you differently, but you have the mindset that they are. And not only does it
This bitch cannot be serious with this, man. Like I said, this is just telling bigoted white people what the fuck they want to hear. If you, look, I'm gonna drop this on bigoted ass white people. People are treated differently in society based on what color their skin are. I don't know what the fuck to tell you. There's been so many people, you know, myself included, who have been pulled over or stopped and frisked or didn't get a job, or, you know, have fucking you walking past people, they're clutching their purse, they're walking faster because your skin color is black or brown. You're searched at the airport an additional time. What the fuck is you talking about? And I guess that last one might not apply to black people, might more so apply to Arab people, but black and Latino people have to deal with institutional discrimination against us because of our black and brown appearances. And even mixed black people like yourself has to deal with it. Black women have to deal with it. Black women can't even speak up for themselves because if they do, they'll be called an uppity black woman. So get this shit out of here that because you're black, that you're not treated differently. And I'm not saying that you should be a victim and you shouldn't try to do anything in life because of, you know, this apparent problem. But at the same time, you shouldn't be, you know, boisterously fucking ignorant and pretend like there is no racism in society at all, like this bitch.
hold you back from creating your own
And
success.
there's more statistics that I could pull up, but I like to keep videos chugging along. That if you're a darker skin like me or even darker, you're more likely to get convicted of a crime. If you have a black sounding name like Diamond or Dewan or something like that, you're less likely to get hired for a job even though you have the same credentials as your white counterparts. There are statistics to show that a black person is clearly more likely to be pulled over by the police than a white person. So all this bullshit she's talking about, you're not being treated differently because your skin color, is factually incorrect information just meant to fucking, you know, hug racist white people and shit.
But it holds you back from taking accountability, and you no longer.
Even if you take accountability, see, I love this shit because you want to know something? Even though I've been working basically since I was 19 years old, and now I'm 26, I have been stopped and frisked. I have been asked, where am I headed tonight? I have been searched for weapons or drugs. I have been treated like a fucking thief. So don't give me this shit. I have no criminal record. I took responsibility and started working in my life, but it's a lot of the times where I still have to deal with things like police harassment or discrimination against motherfuckers in stores or walking on the street.
Are responsible for your actions because you have somebody to blame.
And I'm more than sure over the years there's been plenty of jobs that I done applied for where I didn't get the job because I was African American. Like, what are you gonna do, man? Like, get the fuck out of here.
And people perpetuate that and they tell you that's okay and they say, yes, you are a victim.
Because
and then you
the thing about it, you know, and it feels really good to come up on this and say this shit. Every black person that deals with racism or racist outcome is not a fucking criminal. It's black people that work their fucking fingers to the bone that still got to deal with racist ass white people, or, you know, of course, other races of people have those biases against black people too. But it's a lot of black people that work for a fucking living that still got to deal with racism, both institutionally and in society in general. And you're just downplaying that shit, pretending like it doesn't exist. Don't get me wrong, like being a criminal, you know, if you making mistakes in life, or you think you got to do a certain thing to put food on the table, that can make it worse. But at the same time, what we're not gonna do is just completely downplay, you know, the fact that, like I say, that it's so many just like working class black people that have to deal with racism. Even rich black people. The dude that directed Black Panther put a note in the bank asking for a withdrawal of $20K. I think that's what it was. And then they called the police and said he was trying to rob the bank. He got handcuffed and everything. So I don't get this bullshit. It's not about playing the victim. Maybe it's not people playing the victim, and it's simply just a problem with the way society views black Americans or black people in general, where you can't, you know, walk into certain places. You can't get a job. You're more likely to have to deal with police harassment just for being black. And like I say, it's not about if you making good decisions. It happens anyway, simply for the fact that you're black.
You go out with that mindset, and when success doesn't happen for you, you blame it on other people. And ultimately, I think that is the main.
A lot of people are not successful simply for the fact that they're African American. It's like I said earlier, people literally will not call you back because your name sounds like a black sounding name, like Dewan or Diamond or Lexus or something like that. They will not call you back. This is a real phenomenon in society. There's a lot of young black men who've been caught with like weed or a gun, who's had their lives ruined for the rest of their lives with felony charges. And it's a lot of white men out there who's been caught with weed or with weapons and shit, and they're walking around with little to nothing on their criminal record. It's black men who have been spray painting on walls or some shit like that, who went to jail. And there's white kids who get driven home by the police and they just tell your parents. Now, I'm not saying that, you know, the things I made up necessarily happen and I know stories of one thing or another, but I guarantee you there's some black people and white people out there that can at least, have something similar to the experiences that I'm speaking upon. Because there's a lot of black people who have had their lives ruined because they were black or Latino.
Problem with that narrative is that there's no accountability in the black community anymore.
What about if you do take accountability, but you still got to deal with racism? And constantly saying just, oh, try another job, just get another job, oh, just fight the charges. If you didn't do anything, it's okay. No. We need a restructuring in society of how people view African Americans, because the shit a lot of us got to deal with, especially us that work for a living, is not okay.
People get very, very angry when you say things like that.
Because you sound fucking stupid and you discount the experiences of millions of black Americans that work for a living that still got to deal with racism.
Because they want their race to be seen. They think it's such a pivotal part of who they are.
It's because it is, you bitch. It's literal legislation and laws written to help people because they're a different race besides being white. Not to mention the fact that throughout history, people have been shaming people for looking black or being black, for having, big lips or wider noses or curly hair or darker skin. I think a real analogy that this reminded me of was, I forgot the name of this show. It was a show about this black family moved to a white neighborhood, and they were like trying to make them go crazy so they would move out, basically, and stuff like that. And Their daughter went to a mostly white school, and she was getting bullied a lot. Obviously, in the time period, it's like 1950, I believe. With this bullying, this girl developed, mental health problems. This mental health problem, she created a imaginary white friend. This imaginary white friend, wound up, she's pretending like she's putting makeup on her, and she smeared white paint over her face to look like a white woman. So there is a problem with how people view blackness in society. And it's a lot of people that are just going to say, no, I don't have to have thin lips or straight hair to be beautiful, or to not look like a criminal. And being black or any race, unfortunately, because people like you and your side of the political spectrum is going to play a big role in how society sees you and treats you in the way that your life goes.
They are as a person, and it's overtaking character.
Because
it's overtaking
it is who you are.
Morals and values. It's overtaking where you even
doesn't. What about, like I keep saying, what about all the black people that work for a living that still got to deal with racism?
and land politically. Your race is seen as this sort of pivotal structure to who you are, when that should not be the
Because it is, you bitch. And it's only like that because conservatives and fascists make it that way.
case. We are bringing back segregation in this country, and people will sell it to you as if we're doing it in a
You see a black person on a Netflix show, so now white people are getting segregated. Get this shit out of here, man.
Positive manner, but it is segregation nonetheless, and that is never positive. So that's another narrative that the American people are being sold, that we need to uplift black people, and in doing that, we need to keep them in their separate categories, and we...
You dumb bitch. Having categories that have black artists or movies and shit like that is not, separating black people from whites. It's just making an entertainment category on Netflix or something, which some people might prefer. Not to mention the fact that black people have been on the back foot in the entertainment industry and art industry. So it's good to see, and this is the same logic as affirmative action, so you're more incentivized to move this, to put, art, music, or movies made by black people or acting in by black people for it than white people, because white people have held the spotlight and still technically do hold the spotlight and play in most movies, you stupid fuck. So you're incentivized to have movies and TV shows about black people in their own category, so that way it gets its more attention and it gets its own attention.
We need to give them their success, and it perpetuates the
No black person was like really given their success. Most black people are the best of the best at what they do, and they probably barely made it into the industry that they're currently in.
very same racist narrative that they are trying to run away from. Because if black people can't do anything without your help, and without the help of white liberals or white leftists...
You stupid bitch. What type of class divide bullshit is this? Like, maybe sometimes, number one, bitch, maybe some people just want to do the right thing to make society a better place to live, whether we're talking liberals or leftist white people. Maybe sometimes people have a common enemy, like a LGBT white person doesn't want Republican candidates running their towns, cities, or the country. And maybe at the end of the day, it's called class warfare, where a lot of white people that are working class and poor and had to deal with things like police harassment and grew up around black people know that people like you are full of shit and want to stand with us against grifting pieces of shit like you. So instead of trying to like do this divisive bullshit narrative talking about, oh, white leftists are telling black people what they need, maybe you should look around. Do you like this bitch doesn't go outside? Clearly, have you not seen like, the things that are going on now and how they're affecting the lives of many people, regardless of what race they are? And then you come back with this bullshit talking about, oh, they need the white left. Nobody ever said that shit about needing a white leftist help. People just realize that sometimes they have a common enemy, or that it's right to just do the right thing, which is short and stock these days because of people like you.
What are you saying about the black community? You're saying that they're not capable of doing things without you. You're taking away their character. You're taking away.
No, the fuck they are not. What are you talking about? Like wanting to make reforms to society to make things easier for people and allying with your political allies is not saying, oh, they have no character to do it themselves. No. It's divisive bullshit, man.
Their success and putting it under your name. We are seeing this positive segregation in the black-only college dorms. We're seeing it in affirmative action.
You stupid bitch. Well, I already went over this, but, especially talked about affirmative action. Because black people had to work harder and get less opportunities, you're incentivized to let black people into your college or hire them for certain jobs because they just want more black people to have more opportunities. It's really as simple as that. Because any like high paying job you can think of is more white people holding that job than it is black people.
And we're seeing it in our streaming services like Netflix and Hulu, where we have black only categories. I went onto YouTube the other day and I got a
bitch was gonna say that shit because because some black people, not even just black people, some people want to see things made by black people. That's first of all, that's a personal choice. Freedom of the market. If I want to see a movie or TV show made by black people or acted in by black people, I have the choice to go find that movie or TV show. That's number one. Number two is the same logic as affirmative action because white people get most of the screen time and acting, playing most movies, so they put black people in a special category so people can find movies acted in and played in by black people easier. It's as simple as that. It's not segregation because they make categories that celebrates, blackness. And then at the end of the day, it's just capitalism. But if we want to go with the social justice narrative, it's a good thing. So that way, TV shows and movies made by and acted in by black people get more attention.
Big poster that said, let's uplift black creators. And here's a list of black creators on our platform. We are segregating virtually every single.
Black people get less views on YouTube. Black people are the fucking minority in the country. We get less of every fucking thing. And we still deal with persecution because dumbasses like you push this bullshit narrative of black people not, just not trying hard enough and shit.
Single facet of our society, and we're doing it in this gradual process and teaching people that it's a positive aspect of our lives when it's not. The left is very, very supportive of anti-American values and anti-American speech.
You want to know what's anti-American? Is right-wing authoritarianism and fascism. The way that your political party wants to institute a white supremacist takeover of America where minorities have no power and workers have no rights. We want to talk on America, you should think about your political predilections before talking about everybody else, you stupid bitch.
And they see it as taking back a country that has not served them, even though America has done wonders for everybody who lives here.
But that doesn't mean we stop. We don't stop just because America has, done a few good things. See, that's the thing. So, that's why Thomas Sowell is a stupid bitch. Is because even before the Civil Rights Act, he was saying, oh, at least I'm not a slave. Where does it stop with people like you? At least I'm not a slave. At least I can drink at the same water fountain as a white person. And we done moved up past all that, but black people are still disproportionately living in poverty and have to deal with police brutality. But now you're just saying, Well, at least I'm in America, and we shouldn't fight for anything to get better.
I fear that if things continue on the same track that they're on right now, we are going to lose all sight of what America ever was or what America should be. And
The American Constitution and, the Bill of Rights were meant to be added to and shit like that. If you truly believe in democracy and equality, we must continue to strive for and fight for that democracy and equality, whether we're talking economically and socially. Just because we made a few gains throughout history don't mean we just fucking stop. There's still much more work to be done to make this country a better place to live for everybody.
there are strong campaigns to strip America of its tradition and of its values. And a lot of it is what we are taught. When we go into school, we are taught that this country of freedom and liberty has all these transgressions that nobody wants to talk about and nobody wants to discuss.
It really is. This whole video, well, at least the end portion, is you not wanting to talk about colonialism, about slavery, about the persecution of black people during Reconstruction, about the suppression of left-wing activism in the early 20th century, about the union busting, and about all the shit that the LGBT people and women had to fucking deal with, about the fact that American FBI is more likely to crack down on leftist organizations than it is fucking white supremacist and fascist gangs. So we got a lot to fucking talk about in America, you dumb bitch. And it's people like you that are, anti-free speech. So if we bring up the fact that, black people are still disproportionately victims of police brutality, or the fact that your party of dipshits is bringing up bills to try to restrict the rights of transgender people, oh, we shouldn't talk about that. Come on, we got this far. Fuck out of here. No, progress does not stop for you.
Really, we have a systemic issue that we really are not the free and tolerant country that we preach to people that we are. We are not the beacon on the hill that we try to get other.
Dude, you're literally, well, dude, this bitch is literally getting paid by PragerU to validate white supremacy right now. She talking about we're not. They tell us we're not the free and equal country. Look at the fuck you saying. Look at what you're doing. You're literally on here validating white supremacy. It's saying that, there's no such thing as racism. Like Jesse Lee Peterson's stupid ass.
Other people to perceive us as. And I think it is just a child that is born of misinformation and lies.
You got some fucking nerds about misinformation? Why don't we talk about how stupid fucks like you try to... You people are Confederate revisionists, you're Holocaust deniers, and you just deny history in general. I bet this bitch doesn't think the Southern strategy happened.
I think that we can all find common ground in looking at the beautiful things that this country has to offer. We get to experience more.
But that don't mean we stop. We don't stop progress because this country offers a few good things.
Freedom than anybody in the world. The fact that I can go out and have freedom of speech and say what I feel and what I think. It's also amazing.
I can call people like you stupid.
In this country that we can come here and enjoy all these opportunities, create businesses, create our own world, create our own dream, and
to have the money and capital to do so already.
Know that you can go out and be whatever you want to be is a beautiful thing that should absolutely be celebrated on both sides.
Change your gender.
It's
or be gay or be black. Man, that was fucking stupid.